This video is brought to you by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino.
Welcome back, folks. I'm Jake Ellenbogen. Today, I'm going to give you a little bit of a dive. Obviously, I was not there, so let me make that very clear. But I'm going to be talking about the Rams and Chargers, their joint practice, give you kind of my thoughts on, what we heard and give you what we heard. Before we dive into it, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Also, be sure to follow me on all social media at JKBogan. And of course, on Instagram at JKBogan as well. And don't forget, as always, this video is sponsored by BetUS, where you can get 125% sign-up bonus today, up to $2,000 3 times using my promo link in the comment section and the description below. Okay, so let's dive into this thing. There's a lot to take away. The Chargers reportedly were just absolutely dicing up the Rams as far as the defense is concerned. They got a lot of pressure on Matthew Stafford, a lot of interceptions, a lot of turnovers generated. So what does this mean? Well, let's take it from the top, okay? First off, things you need to know, right? The Rams were without 3 starters on the offensive line, okay? That means, if you're thinking about it right now, left tackle's out, left guard is out, and the right tackle's out. So the only 2 starters on the field were Steve Avila and Kevin Dotson for the offensive line. Okay, there you go. So let's not just assume anything. The guys that were filling in at left tackle, Joseph Noteboom; at left guard, Zach Thomas, and of course at right tackle, Warren McClendon Jr. What we heard essentially from that is that Warren McClendon Jr. showed some things. Didn't hear anything great about Noteboom or Thomas, although I've heard Thomas has had a good camp. But we're talking just about the joint practice, which actually happened yesterday at the Chargers facility. And I wanted to mention, of course, the guys who weren't playing before we dived into it. But in addition to that, okay, let me also make this very clear. Justin Herbert did not play. He was out. He has plantar fascia of his right foot. So I don't know what the deal is there, when he'll be back or not. Hopefully soon, because he's on my fantasy team. But all jokes aside, Easton Stick is the backup quarterback. Started some games last year for the Chargers, and he actually took all of the first team snaps. So, that is that. But this was not an easy opportunity here for Warren McClendon Jr., for Noteboom, for Thomas, for any of these offensive linemen, because the Chargers are well equipped. They have Tua Pelotu, they have Khalil Mack, they have Joey Bosa, they added Bud Dupree. So there's a lot of options there to rush the passer, and it was a really nice test, and unfortunately, they did not pass it. So we're going to discuss quite a few things in this video. But let's, start off by saying, yes, I've already put out the video. Puka Nacua did exit this practice early on after making a catch. He hit his knee on the ground, dead straight onto the ground. A lot of people on Twitter and what have you would say it was a PCL injury. We never got a firm diagnosis. We just know that he's week to week, and the Rams are not reportedly concerned. So there's that. Braden Fisk also exited early in this joint practice, and he did not return, but that was precautionary. He didn't return because he had a blister the size of his foot, according to Sean McVey, so not great at all. I don't know where he got that from, and again, I do have to question just the field that they've been practicing on and using training camp on at Loyola. I'm sorry, I have to say it. I think it's fair to say, because it seems like there are a lot more injuries this year than years past. But look, Matthew Stafford was getting a lot of passes batted down. He had 2 interceptions that were thrown because of pass deflections. There was not a lot of opportunity for Stetson Bennett to get in there. It was really Stafford and Garoppolo. And Stafford had some really nice plays, according to some reports here. And, obviously, I want to give credit to these reporters. I want to give credit to Stu Jackson. I want to give credit to Jordan Rodriguez. And I want to give credit to Adam Grossbard or Grossbard from the OC Register. So those were the 3 that I read and took away. So I wanted to give them their props. Obviously, if you don't know, Stu Jackson is a senior staff writer for the LA Rams, the Rams.com, if you will. Jordan Rodriguez is with, of course, The Athletic, and Adam Grossbart, of course, is with OC Register, like I just said. But the point I'm making here is that you're not going to be able to get a lot going when you're dealing with these backups, right? And it's really good competition. It's really good experience for these guys. This is the time, because these games don't count. These scrimmages don't count. So go out there and make the most of it. And I think that's something Sean McVey has always really prided himself on, is trying to stay positive. I think he's always done a great job of that. And this was no different. He's been saying, like, hey, I got to stop thinking about me and think about them. I mean, they're going through this injury, and this is a golden opportunity for guys like Noteboom and Zach Thomas and, of course, Warren McClendon to actually get some reps. So I found that interesting that, these guys are getting these reps and, what have you. Blake Corum ended up fumbling in this one. Like I said, there were some interceptions from Stafford. But I'm just going to say it. Sean McVay came out and said we have way higher standards than that. Not acceptable. That's not who we are. And I'll just remind you, for people that are freaking out about this, because I am far from freaking out about this. I don't give a rip, if I'm being honest with you. The reason I say that is because last year, the Rams had a not so great joint practice with the Raiders. As a matter of fact, I kind of remember them back in the day not having a great practice with the Cowboys, and both those teams were good. So I don't really care. This is the time. Make your mistakes, learn from them. I don't care until the games count. I can't stress that enough. But I do care about these guys getting opportunities, because like we just talked about in the Puka Nacua video, Jordan Whittington's going to get more opportunities. Well, Warren McClendon Jr. getting right tackle reps, this is great for the future. And I did a Warren McClendon Jr. video breaking him down and really isolating him and what I thought he could be in 2024. And the reality is he's probably the favorite to be the right tackle of the future after Havenstein, who's also dealing with a ankle injury. And I have my issues with that because, Havenstein played with an ankle injury, and that was his worst year of his career, arguably. So I am concerned that he might be dealing with that for the full season and everything. But, I think when you look at McClendon Jr., he had an opportunity to go against some really, tough pass rushers. He faced Bosa, he faced Mack, he faced Bud Dupree and Tuli Tuipulotu, as, basically they explained. So I thought that was, that's good practice. And, Sean McVay, he thought it was excellent. He said Warren is continuing to mature, and, they're going to go back and look at it, but there were some good things. And then there were some things that just isolating on him. So I think really McVay is going to get a chance to go over this and the coaching staff and everything, and they can learn from this. And I think, this isn't just Warren McClendon Jr., this is everybody. They had the kickoff and everything, kind of explained in the Stu Jackson article, at least, that, teams aren't really trying to show what they're going to do. A lot of teams are going to go about the new kickoff rules a little bit different. There was a nice one-handed catch by both Demarcus Robinson and Colby Parkinson near the sidelines. So, figured I'd mention that. Stafford had some really nice throws to Puka Nacua and, of course, Davis Allen. However, one of those throws he got out, I believe it was to Puka Nacua, it was mentioned, I believe, by Jordan Rodriguez that would have been a sack in all likelihood. So the game, the play kept going and whatnot. But I think a lot of people have been asking about it. Like, what was the deal with the defense? We didn't really hear a lot, right? It was all about the Rams offense struggling and the Chargers defense, kind of eating. And, obviously keep in mind, no Justin Herbert, so take it, with a little bit of a grain of salt. But Easton Stick is an NFL quarterback, and, Cameron Kinchins really came away having another great practice, and he's just been on a tear. He's been, he started off slow. We didn't really hear about him, and now all of a sudden he's starting to pick it up. So this is really good news because he was one of the younger players that they drafted in this draft. So, Cam Kinchins, being able to do what he's able to do is great. They're already very high on another Cameron Curl, spelled the exact same way, Cameron. And he had an interception off of Easton Stick. And so, I think looking at this, we didn't really get a lot about the defense. I tried to find some stuff on the defense, some nuggets on the defense. It wasn't a ton. But the reality of it is that the Rams didn't have their best practice with the Chargers, just like last year with the Raiders. They still won 10 games last year. They were still the hottest team in football down the stretch last year. So am I concerned about it? Not in the slightest. And I saw a lot of people were like, Matthew Stafford had no time to throw. Yeah, what would you expect? Okay, backups are great. Depth is great. But when you have 3 guys out, depth is supposed to be, hey, if I have a guy that gets nicked up, I can put in somebody else. Not, hey, I have to put in 3 new bodies. What have I always said on this channel about the offensive line? The offensive line is a chain link, essentially. It's a chain. And you have these different links, right? And you may call, at left tackle, Noteboom. He's had experience. He started very well. He's had, playoff experience at left tackle. You could call him a steel chain or whatever you want to call him, okay? Is he elite? No, but he can get the job done. Left guard, Zach Thomas, you could call him like, I don't know, a weaker than steel chain. And then Avila's a steel, and then, Kevin Dotson's a steel, and then maybe Warren McClendon is a weaker than steel chain, whatever, bronze chain, whatever. Like, at one point during the 2022 season, you had like paper mache chains, okay? And no disrespect, but you have to understand something. The offensive line is a collective unit. It is not a position, even though there are 5 guys just like on an NBA court, right? Oh, you put 5 guys out there, that's your lineup. And 1 guy can pick up the pace, right? A LeBron James can carry the load. Well, I can tell you right now, you're not going to have 1 guy that can pick up the pace for the 4 other guys on the offensive line. They all have to work in unison. They all have to be, gelled and ready to go and have that continuity. And these guys don't have a lot of experience with each other. If you think about it, obviously Kevin Dotson and Steve Avila have played next to each other, or played, close to each other before. And Joe Noteboom has been out there as well. The other 2 guys haven't gotten that much run. Zach Thomas had that 1 game where he had to play left tackle against the Bengals, and Warren McClendon Jr. has played, in preseason and what have you, but not a lot of experience. So I wasn't expecting much. I don't think you should expect much about that. It sounds like everybody that has been hurt, except for Darian Kendrick, will be back for week 1, but who knows? And I just have to say, you got to take that stuff with a grain of salt. It's nice to hear some good stuff. It hurts to hear bad stuff. But the reality is, this is not counting. This is a joint practice, and players practice worse or better than they do on the field. Some are good, some are bad. And so I'm not really going to look at this as anything other than, okay, that's kind of a little bit of a barometer about where you are right now with what you have and the injuries that you have. But the Rams, a big key contributor for the Rams is going to be Kyren Williams and Blake Corum in the run game. And you're not really able to run the ball effectively in joint practices, okay? Because you're not trying to get anybody injured. So to go 100% in run game, you're not going to see that until week 1 of the regular season, personally. So with that said, I'm not worried, not concerned. Rams have a preseason game, I believe, on Sunday. So that is essentially the attention there. They're still going to be practicing and what have you. I believe training camp is over. And I think they have some other joint practices as well. So we'll see. But if I learned anything from this, it would be that it was just a reinforced vision. Okay. The Rams need their offensive line to stay healthy. And if anybody goes down throughout the year, they can deal with that. They have really good depth. But again, having good depth and replacing 1 player is a lot different than having to replace 3 players. As far as Puka Nacua goes, I think he's going to be okay as well. I'm not worried about, Braden Fisk as much. I am annoyed by that, but I'm not worried about that. And I just keep hearing how Chris Shula's defense is just very energetic and they're quick to the ball and everything. So look, not a ton to take away from this, but I do like some things. I'm going to take some things that I heard or saw, whatever, and I'm going to kind of, just hopefully hope that they build off that. And just again, remind myself, this time last year, going up against the Raiders, hearing, Jimmy Garoppolo is connecting with Devontae Adams and, all that. I'm just going to take it for what it is. It's a joint practice. It's not a game. It has no bearing on the season, and that's that. So, curious what you guys think. Drop it in the comments section below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care, folks. Later. Do you love talking about the Rams, the NFL, or just want to be a part of a community? Join my free Discord server today. We're over 800 members. We got 24/7 live chat, a level 3 boosted server, the ability to call into JE Live, playing online games with us on Kick streams, toggleable alerts for when I go live on YouTube or Kick so you don't miss a live stream, and exclusive giveaways. Click the link in the description, the comments section, or the link that comes up in the video to learn more and join today.